TikTok, time to rock. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon to everyone who's watching from all over the world. It's your friendly neighborhood philosopher here, D Wood. With me now, I've got the Apostate Prophet. And in addition to the Apostate Prophet, I have a bunch of complainers. AP and D Wood be on time challenge impossible. We actually have technical difficulties that we didn't have. Do you remember this being an issue where
Nope.
we're massively out of sync years ago?
Nope.
Yeah, now it's like
This is
every
a
other
very new
time.
thing.
Yeah, now it's like every other time we go live, and it doesn't matter. So it'll happen on various using various programs and everything else. Anyway, so the idea, guys, is I'll say something in AP, but he'll hear me like 5 seconds later, and that doesn't work. But then when we're about to go live and we see that, we got to troubleshoot. We don't know whose end that's on and so on. So we got to, anyway, it's getting annoying, guys. So if anyone knows how to fix, because again, this was not a problem a couple of years ago. This has been a recent thing. We both have brand new equipment. It was happening on my previous equipment before I got this. It had just started. It was, and then AP has a new computer. So anyway, we got totally new equipment. So it's not an equipment problem. And we just don't know. Anyway, weird stuff. But these are small, minor concerns compared to other things going on in the world. Namely, endless church attacks. And there are attacks on Christians very, very regularly in Africa and places like Nigeria and so on. But the media generally don't report on them unless it's something really, really huge. They don't report it. The only place you hear about it is from like Robert Spencer and so on. He reports it, and he uses. There are a couple sites that report news in Africa, and then Robert will share those and so on. But other than that, you don't hear about them. You do hear about them occasionally if it's a place like Syria or, in this case, the United States of America. So anyway, we're going to check out some of this stuff. Let me see if anyone else is whining. Yes, whining. Oh my goodness, it's the end of the world. It takes David and AP are a couple minutes late. How can this happen? It's the worst thing that's ever happened in the entire world.
That's true.
Hey, what is this? Why is Candace Owens so mad and spamming on X just asking questions?
Yeah, she's going nuts. Lots of people have been losing it since yesterday, since the just strike happened by the United States on the Iranian nuclear facilities. Some people have been going nuts, including Candace Owens, Dave Smith, and others. Some people who were against it have turned around and suddenly switched sides. Some people play both sides, like the Hodge twins. They were both posting anti-Trump on Twitter and pro-Trump on Facebook, and so on. So people are wild, man.
Hey, speaking of the Hodge twins, we both saw this. Check this out. These guys are weird because they're super cool looking and shredded and stuff, but they speak exactly like their accent is exactly like my hillbilly cousins from Preston County, West Virginia. I'm talking like moonshine territory. I'm talking about guys show up to the family reunion with bottles of moonshine. Those cousins. Anyway, that's exactly what the Hodge twins sound like. So they're like, anybody ever thought these Middle East countries wouldn't hate us if we just have left them alone years ago? Right? Now, this tweet, which was from today, this is the first time I actually got why I didn't understand. I don't understand most like new terms people are making up for social media and so on. So anyway, I saw like people were calling the dudes the woke right or something like that. I don't know if that is the appropriate term for this, but I was wondering why they're talking about woke right, because woke would normally be associated with left and so on, and it was being applied a lot to people who are constantly complaining about Jews and so on, and they were being called the woke right and so on. But this right here, as soon as I saw this is very interesting. Anybody ever thought maybe these Middle East countries wouldn't hate us if we just left them alone? Like did the Hodge twins think that this was some new thought? Because this was the most common thing you heard 10 to 15 years ago from the far left. Right? That's what we heard. Why do these guys hate us? Is it something to do with their religion? No, their religion is wonderful. It's all peace and tolerance. Why do they hate us then? Because we keep messing with them. because we've been mean to them. That's why they hate us. They hate us because we've been mean to them. That only you can look around and say, hey, maybe because we do bomb Iran and things like that. Maybe that's why they hate us. That only works if you have no idea about 14 centuries of history. They hated the United States before the United States even existed. It was built into their religion. Do you think they were invading Europe in the East, Eastern Europe, Southern Europe, Spain, France? Do you think they were doing that for centuries because they were mad about the United States bombing Iran? Do you think that? Or was there something already there that was before the United States, before bombs, before any of this stuff? Anyway, so now you have, it's just becoming common on the right for certain people. So Hodge twins, Candace, and so on. They're starting to put out basically Islamic talking points now, and defending Islam. And it's Western nations that are bad. Muslim ideology, Muslim nations are good. This is interesting. Iran is good. Iran is they're the good guys. This is insane, guys. This is insane how this is just flipping real quick. Anyway, so this is the Hodge twins. Whose fault is all this stuff? Well, it's Western nations' fault. That's why they hate us. See, if we would just stop bombing, this is hilarious. This was what they just tweeted was a condensed version of Obama's Cairo speech from years ago. It's, hey guys, why do they hate us? Because they hate us because we've been mean to them and they feel disrespected. So what are we going to do? We'll go over there and tell them we don't hate them and then we're not going to disrespect them and that we respect their religion and we love their prophet. And we'll do that. And you'll see that their hearts will melt. Their hearts will melt. They'll embrace us. Hostility will end. We'll get a fresh start. So Obama went and gave his Cairo speech. It was the greatest speech you could possibly give in defense of that position. How did things improve? Well, you got ISIS, ladies and gentlemen. They smelled weakness and you got ISIS. And now the Hodge twins are, well, why don't we do this? Why don't we try this new thing? Maybe it's our fault. Yeah. I guess you could technically defend that because Islam from the beginning has called for the violent subjugation of the entire world and has claimed, look it up, Hodge twins, if you like, Surah 3, verse 110, Muslims are the best of peoples ever raised up for mankind. Then Surah 98, verse 6, Jews and Christians are the worst of creatures. You'll agree with the part about the Jews, won't you? So you're in half agreement with them already, guys. But anyway, Muslims are supposed to be up here. Jews and Christians are supposed to be down here. Everyone else is like even worse off than Jews and Christians. So Hindus, atheists would even be in a worse spot than Jews and Christians. But anyway, who's supposed to be dominant right now? You're talking 14 centuries later. Who's supposed to be dominating the world? Who's supposed to be in control? Muslims. Who's supposed to be subjugated and humiliated and coming and handing them jizya? Jews and Christians. And they're looking at the world and going, why are Jews and Christians more powerful than us? And it's enraging them. So technically, you could say it's got something to do with us. We refuse to be subjugated as the Muslim sources say we're supposed to. The Muslim sources say that we are supposed to be subjugated right now. We're supposed to be inferior, humiliated, subjugated, degraded, groveling before them, handing them money, and we get punched as we're delivering them the tribute money. That's what we're supposed to be doing. They're looking around the world going, it's not, they're not going along with the plan. These Jews and Christians and other people, they're not going along with the plan. What's going on here? And it enrages them. So technically you could say, yeah, it's our fault for not being subjugated. But anyway, this is the new online right. I can't even say the right because I don't think most people on the right think like this. But this is becoming, here's the thing, they're becoming more and more popular with this nonsense. This nonsense is spreading rapidly. Interesting stuff. It's going to be fun to watch. Yo, AP. I'm thinking with people saying all this stupid stuff, we should be posting videos that are along the lines of what the Hodge twins need to learn about Islam. That's like one.
Oh yeah.
What Matt Walsh needs to learn about Iran. Right?
Yeah.
This is no disrespect towards Matt Walsh. Sometimes people talk about things they have no idea what they're talking about, but it is very common. We've addressed this already many times, but people still don't get the point that Iran is a different kind of country. It's built into people's minds right now. Regime change doesn't work, guys. Every well-functioning government, pretty much on the planet, is the result of having a regime change at some point, right? Unless you've had the exact same regime for forever, then you've probably had a regime change at some point. Guess what? Some regime changes lead to a better form of government, and then that lasts. Iran has pretty much the most disastrous regime in the world, completely evil. And so it's an interesting situation. If you're already at the bottom, well, things can kind of only get better with a regime change or stay the same. Anyway.
Why
Stuff
Charlie Kirk is wrong about.
You see what I'm saying? We could those videos would do well right now because people are looking at the stuff these guys are posting and going, this is idiotic, but not everyone knows how to respond and stuff. And so if we put out some videos, just, okay, here's what you're wrong and here's what you need to know. And then people could share it, man. People could share it. You got that idea?
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty based idea. All right, guys. So let's, we've got multiple church attacks today. One clearly a jihadi attack. That's in Syria. And then one people don't know right now. They're thinking mental health problems. So if you saw the news about an attack in Wayne, Michigan, you think, okay, that's not far from Dearborn. Dearborn has a huge Shia population. Shias would be mad about what just happened in Iran. So maybe that's the attack or something like that. So you'd think based on timing that this might have something to do with that. They're describing the attacker as a white male with possible mental problems. Now, keep in mind, you can have Shias who look white and could be described and so on. But the idea, but at the end of the day, you do have people with mental problems who go and attack churches. And you do have just white Americans who it could be someone who has an agenda, a political agenda. So for some reason, or it could just be, it can sometimes be people who are mad at the church for some reason. Like there's been things like that in the past. Don't like what this church stands for and so on. So we're going to go attack it. The creepy thing is it was one of these like vacation Bible school churches. So they basically transformed their church into like summer camp for kids to learn about Christianity and stuff like that. And that's what was attacked. That's what was attacked by some dude. So anyway, matter of fact, let's go ahead and read about this. So AP, don't be blaming Muslims for everything when sometimes it's not. Got that?
It always is.
All right, so here we have Wayne County police credit staffers for stopping gunmen at Wayne County Church. They prevented a mass shooting. Yes, they did. They were actually trained. And in fact, it was because, I don't even know if that was in this article. I read a couple of things about this before we went live. But this church, because of shootings years ago, actually made sure they had security in place. Made sure that people were trained to deal with the problem, made sure they had security and so on. So smart, because someone was coming in there with the intention of gunning down a bunch of kids, which is bad. So anyway, let's read through this, and then we'll read about the attack in Syria, which was way, 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 way bloodier. This could have been really bad, but they stopped it. Anyway, a gunman wearing a tactical vest and carrying 2 guns targeted a suburban Detroit church Sunday morning, firing shots into the building's exterior during a special vacation Bible school service before he was run over by one person and then fatally shot by church security. Oh, man. You catching this, AP?
Mm-hmm.
Guy shows up, pulls out guns. Someone slams into him with a car and then fatally, and then security shoots him. The incident happened around 11 a.m. at Cross Point Community Church, which is located Glenwood Road. About 150 people were at a service when Wayne Police Chief Ryan Strong said a 31-year-old Romulus man began driving erratically outside the church. Strong said the man exited the vehicle in a tactical vest, armed with a long gun and a handgun, then began shooting at the church. So some sort of rifle or something like that, and then a handgun. Crosspoint Community Church Senior Pastor Bobby Kelly Jr. said a church member noticed the shooting and drove over the man with a pickup truck. Oh, man. Legend. This is whoever did that. Legend status right there. Sees a guy show up to the church with a gun, shooting at the church. See, the shooter's dumb. And we're glad he's dumb because he could have just calmly walked into the church with the guns under his vest or something like that, and then people wouldn't notice until he's already gunning people down. But the dope started shooting outside the church, shooting at the church, and someone saw it. Someone was in their car and rammed him in a truck. He was run over by one of our church members who saw this happening when he was coming into church, Kelly said, which gave security time to fire back. So someone hit him with the car, and that gave security time to get him. Strong said two church members then shot at the gunman, killing him. So, wow. So you got someone hit him with the car, security fires back, and two church members shoot him. Wow. That was a well-equipped church. And that could have very easily been an ill-equipped church, and lots of people would be dead right now. We are grateful for the quick actions of the church's staff members who undoubtedly saved many lives and prevented a large-scale mass shooting, Strong said. I would add that the church parishioners and staff members were trained in responding to emergency situations, which also saved lives. So they were equipped and ready, and they were trained. Good to have some people trained in your church, ladies and gentlemen, because this looks like it may be a thing in the future. Police have not yet publicly identified the suspect. Kelly said he was not aware of the shooter's identity, but said the attacker does not appear to be a member. That's always one question. It could always be a church member who gets mad or something like this and comes back and attacks people. Strong said the suspect's motivation is not yet clear. It appears he was suffering from a mental health crisis, said Strong, citing interviews police conducted Sunday. The shooting happened around 11 a.m. and 911 calls started coming into police around 11:06 a.m., police said. Here's what sucks. There's kind of this boy who cried wolf scenario with the mental health crisis, because we hear that after jihadi attacks. In other words, you'll have jihadis attack and slaughter someone, and then they'll go, mental health. And it's like, okay, dude screaming Allahu Akbar while gunning down non-Muslims, and you're saying mental health problem, and so on. But here's the thing. Sometimes there are actual people with mental health problems who try to go on killing sprees. And so
that is true.
These are the situations where you got to wait for more information to come in before you know what's going on. A security guard was shot in the leg, so actually hit somebody. Kelly said, but no other church members were injured. Strong said that the guard's injury was not life-threatening and that he was awaiting surgery. Kelly said the attacker did not enter the building, but several shots were fired into the church. Strong, the police chief, said the suspect did not appear to have a prior criminal history and appeared to have acted alone. Oh, this is actually a long article. Let's see. Sounds inside church. Kelly said roughly 150 people were at a special vacation Bible school service Sunday when the shooting occurred, and more children than usual were in attendance. Yeah, because it's vacation Bible school. Congregants heard noises many assumed were construction-related and continued services until a security guard directed them to evacuate, Kelly said. We're going to see a video. We're going to see a video of the attack. And you do hear noises. I don't know if this is the noises from the shooting or something else. A short clip of a video. Oh, yeah, this is what we're going to see. A short clip of a video of the church service shows some members beginning to leave the room. Then a woman at the front says, please, everybody come to the back, and more follow. After a clicking sound is heard, a few people scream, and the remainder of those in the room hurry out. Members of Crosspoint Community Church started a security team. There we go. This is how it happened. Members of Crosspoint Community Church started a security team roughly a decade ago in response to violence committed at other places of worship around the United States, Kelly said, although the Wayne Church has not received threats of violence. We are sitting ducks to someone who wants to come and do harm, Kelly said. Kelly said the children in attendance Sunday were doing good and that members were coming together to support one another. We'll be convening our leadership to put a formal plan in place for the aftermath, Kelly said. Well, it's cool because you don't have a lot of aftermath because you guys did a good job, did a bang-up job. This could have been anybody. Police tape blocked access to the church Sunday afternoon where a white pickup was parked with the top popped. At least 10 police vehicles from Michigan State Police, the Wayne County Sheriff's Office, and Wayne and Dearborn Police parked in front of the church, as well as at least one ambulance and one fire truck. Let's see, anything else interesting here? Let's see. In the middle there we have, this could have been anybody, he said. This could have been any church, any mosque, any temple. I am grateful they were prepared for the worst and were able to stop the worst from happening. Let's see. All right. So that's what happened in Michigan today. Again, the main issue was like the timing, that it coincided with the bombing of Iran, which is why you'd think that it had something to do with that, but no suggestion apart from that it had anything to do with Iran. And suspect is being described, shooter is being described as white man with mental health problems. So we'll see. But let's go ahead and check out this video. I got a video clip.
Oh.
Get out.
You hear that? I don't know if that's gunfire or something else. Anyone know what that is?
Go back.
Get out.
Oh,
I don't know what that is.
yeah, that sounds like it.
I don't know if so, that's like an automatic weapon. Anyway, I don't know what that is, but let's see. Let's go ahead and watch it from the beginning here. It's a short clip.
Oh.
Get out.
Come on. Everybody to the back. Please, everybody come to the back. Come to the back. John, they gotta come. They gotta come. Come on.
Come on.
Go. Out, I don't think is a good idea. Come on, Mary.
Let's watch that one more time. Check out some comments here. I'm looking at comments because I'm not allowed to mess with guns, guys. I'm not allowed to mess with guns. So, but some of you, most of you are, and we have differences of view. Let's see. Oh, a bunch of comments here. Bunch of comments from people who are better informed about guns than I am. You would think D. Wood would be well informed on guns. But not allowed. Not allowed. Radical Moderate said that's full auto. Now, Radical Moderate, I think, knows about guns. But let's see. Hey, what is this stupid comment? Jane says, respectfully, it doesn't seem very organized. What, telling kids to get out of the room when they don't know what's going on? We're not talking about that. We're saying security is well organized. They had well organized security. The dude didn't even make it into the church before they had killed him. I'd say that's pretty darn well organized security. If you're complaining that kids at Vacation Bible School are not well organized, I think that's pretty darn, I think they were pretty well organized too. They heard it and within, what, 20 seconds they're out of the room? That's pretty darn good. What were you expecting? They like magically disappear? Quit criticizing people for dumb reasons. Anyway, Let's check out some of these other comments. So someone here, I Kelt says that's the gun. I'm saying because we've got some different views here about what that sound was. Jordan Peep says automatic. Enema Vox says it might be hard to tell. I agree, definitely hard to tell. Like, I'm just wondering what kinds of different things make that noise. Let's see. Someone said Glock with a switch. Don't know. Someone else said it's a chair dragging on the floor. Not sure about that. And here
That
we
sounds
have
very unusual for that.
Yeah, that's a weird chair sound. Red Letter said, so many kids too, very sad. That's what I mean. This would have been bad. This would have been bad if these guys hadn't had security. Dwayne says full auto. Let's see. I already said. Oh, okay, I already said that. I don't know why, but Ecamm switched to where now things are, as you're trying to click on things, the things are moving. I need to like call and complain or send them a message and complain. Said, yeah, the rate of fire is pretty fast. Too fast for a semi. We have a lot of people saying full auto and so on. Full auto. Huh. All right. So all of you guys, pretty much everyone in here is more informed on guns like this than I am. Those sound like bumped 22s or a handgun. Okay. Seems like the people who know about guns are saying that sounded like a gun. All right, we'll check it out. One more. We'll check it out. Let me back this up a little. All right, here we go. Okay, that's when people hear. That's when people are told by security, get out.
Come on, everybody to the back. Please, everybody come to the back. Come to the back. Don, they gotta come. They gotta come. Come on.
Come on. Come on. Come on. Come on.
Go. Out, I don't think is a good idea. Come on here.
You could kind of hear another shot and then people scream, but I think that was when security. I think that was from security. But yeah, I look at it. This is 30 seconds into when someone yelled get out. So 30 seconds and there's one older guy there. The kids are gone. That's pretty decent. That's pretty good reaction time there. So that's Wayne, Michigan today. Wayne, Michigan. But there was a much worse situation. And here's what's rough. Churches in America can pretty much all be ready like that. You can always have, it's easy to have security and so on, easy to have people who are trained and ready. And the number of people they're going to have to deal with is pretty limited over here. Christians in other parts of the world, especially Syria right now, they're surrounded by jihadis. And I mean, Christians right now in Syria, they are actually surrounded by ISIS jihadis. That's just a bad situation. And the government, whether it's involved or merely a spectator, is going to have trouble stopping these guys. From slaughtering people in the name of Allah. So in other words, guys, you have people who take over a country, and they're like, yay, I got hold of the country. If you're an ISIS jihadi, it's, ooh, I just got an awesome opportunity to kill lots of people from different groups. So get ready for more of this, guys. Sucks, but that's reality. Let's take some super chats. Because a bunch of people are commenting on what's happened today. So we'll check this out, and then we'll check out go through the attack in Syria today. Let's see. Stephen M., you see the curse of Allah. Yeah, you could say that about our technical difficulties that we always have now. That would be funny. You're both well worth the wait. That's true. I agree. I agree.
Okay.
The heartbreak is real whenever any of these stories happen. Christ promised us pain as well as victory. Maranatha. Streaming on time is my jihad. What's yours? It is a struggle. Syrian Christians are OGs. A bunch of Christians took to the streets in Syria chanting things like Christians aren't afraid of death and rang church bells so jihadis know Christians are there. Dang. You hear that, AP?
Mm-hmm. I do.
That's weird. Because aren't those Christians there Orthodox?
Yeah, mostly, yes.
Most people think of Orthodox Christians as like too weak and fragile and not based. But here Apostate of Allah is saying, by the way, guys, I was joking. Orthodox Christians have a reputation of being tough and strong. But anyway, Apostate of Allah said here, Syrian Christians are OGs. A bunch of Christians took to the streets in Syria chanting things like Christians aren't afraid of death, rang church bells. So jihadis know Christians are there. So they're out there. Yeah, we're here. Here's the bells, jihadis. That's badass, guys. That's badass. What?
So the demographics are, just looking it up, it's actually difficult to tell right now. What the heck, the latest demographics? Hey, hold up a second. I want to look this up right now. Religion, ethnicity. This is kind of funny. There's very little information on the Christian denominations in Syria. It seems like there's some very old data from 1956 for some reason. But
1956?
Yeah, since then lots of things have probably changed.
But
it was mostly Eastern Orthodox, followed closely by Oriental Orthodox, followed closely by Catholic Church, and then a very small minority of Protestants and Church of the East.
Yeah, so that is old data. Now it would be mostly Protestants.
No.
Catholic here, my deepest condolences for my Orthodox brothers and sisters who suffered and died for their faith in Christ today. Indeed, they are martyrs. They are indeed. I have to say, as much as it sucks and you want to, we need to take steps to protect our brothers and sisters around the world. If you gotta die, being martyred is a pretty darn good way to die. Getting killed by jihadis in church, you don't want it to happen. But of all the ways I could die, that's not there's nothing dishonorable about that, right? Like there are lots of ways that you could die, and it's stupid, and it's your fault, and it's like shameful or something like that. If you were drunk driving, for instance, and you die drunk driving, it's like, okay, you're an idiot and you should be ashamed, especially if you hit someone else with your car and stuff like that. So there are dishonorable ways to die. Dying in a church service, attacked by jihadis, I have to say that is I would not be at all sad about if I went in a church service like that. Don't want it to happen. Want to protect Christians and so on. Let's see. IRGC made sure I wake for your live, so get shekels. Yeah, that's good. Got to get the shekels. I had a Zoom meeting with some Chinese pastors who are part of the underground church. Crazy stories, but my atheist friends told me Christian persecution is just a myth. I have been humiliated. Yeah, it is interesting. You talk to people in the underground church in various places, and they talk about all the stuff that happens, and then you hear from other people, oh, it's just a myth. Good to know. It's crazy stuff. I forget what the statistics are, but it's something like between half and 90%, depending on the study, of Chinese people who convert to Christianity. So people who convert to Christianity and in China. It's something like between 50 and 90%, depending on the study. They converted based on believing they've witnessed some miracle performed in the name of Christ. It's interesting stuff. And you can't say, oh, they're just dumb, they're idiots, they're Asian. Gog and Magog at the end of the world in Islam. Tear down the wall, tear down the wall. Yeah, guys, according to Sheikh Yasser Qadi, there's a horde of zombies. There's a horde of zombies behind a giant wall that was built by Alexander the Great, and these zombies are going to pop out at some point. Been working through whether or not a hive mind, as seen in sci-fi, is a good analogy for the Trinity in that a single entity inhabits multiple persons with the same will. Better for non-Muslims, probably. Yeah, probably. There are reports that other countries like Pakistan or Russia will give Iran a nuke. What is your reaction to that? Valid or not? Maybe even China. AP, was this? I think I saw it, but it was just on X earlier that Russia now said, "Oh, since the United States is stopping Iran from building their weapon, then other countries are free to give them some." But I don't know if that was accurate or not. You heard anything about that?
I don't really know if that's what they said. I got wind of something like that very briefly, but I don't think that is the direction that they went. But it was basically, so Putin and Russia have been saying for weeks now that there is that America has no right to interfere in any of the programs that Iran is doing. Well,
That's false.
too bad. Already did.
We're the United States. We're the most powerful nation the world has ever seen. That gives us the right to do whatever we want in the world. What do you
And
think?
that if America does something, then Russia will take care of it and will hold direct talks and step in and make sure that such a thing can never happen again, and so on. But I don't think that they have actually threatened to hand over weapons. And the thing is, so this scenario that Pakistan or Russia would give Iran nukes and help them use it, I don't think it would actually work out.
I don't either. I think that would be war right there. If some other nation said, "Here's a nuke to Iran," I think that is like instant war. Like we're
also
bombing the heck out of everybody.
Iran also doesn't have any experience with any of this kind of stuff. Normally, if they want to use something, they would be they would practice. They would experience. They would have trials on that and so on. They haven't done anything. They were only on the path of developing something. The one fear that people had over the last months, over the last weeks, was that when Iran has already threatened that if they are pushed, they will build a nuclear weapon, and then they were basically forcing everyone to push them. That if they are pushed, that if they are bombed and bombarded right now, they might use their underground facilities to quickly develop a nuclear weapon and go on a fast track to do that and somehow try to use it. And the likelihood of them trying to do it would actually be kind of moderate, although the chance of them using it and being successful with it would be moderate to low. But that was one of those fears, and this is why Israel has been keeping them under fire. And America eventually came in and bombed the heck out of the facilities. And I guess they don't have really the chance to do that anymore. But yeah, I don't think that anybody can step in and actually do anything about this. There's also what we have seen over the last several years and over the last several months is, prior to this, for 2 decades or so, I and many others heard repeatedly this whole thing, oh, if a world war starts, then Russia might win and might crush the United States because Russia is actually very, very big and strong and has lots of people and lots of inventory and equipment. Look what happened, man. They can barely take care of their own problem right now, let alone jump into a different conflict. Iran is the Islamic regime of Iran is on their knees, just like Muhammad was on his knees. China doesn't want to step into any conflict. China is afraid that if they step into a military conflict, they might get completely derailed and their economy might collapse. This is just, and we once again have the superiority of the West proven right before our eyes, and the big bad Russia can do nothing about it. They have been threatening and chest thumping, and they can do nothing about it, as the West is currently just dominating them, as Israel is dominating the Islamic regime of Iran. So I don't think there's much to be afraid of in terms of a world war, a larger conflict, or anything like that. But I think that a very important thing that the West, that America and Israel should help do, is to shoot down and to take down the Islamic regime as soon as possible in order to make sure that that they prevent any attempt to even have an escalation of war and hand power over to the people of Iran. Inshallah.
I think that would be the instant result, right? Like if this became a believable thing that some other nation, Pakistan or China or Russia or something like that, were going to provide Iran with nuclear weapons or something like that, I think that would be instant regime change. It would be like, okay, now we are changing the regime because we don't want anyone receiving any nuclear weapons, and so we're going to make sure that's never even a possible thing.
Yep.
So, all right. Let's see. The woke right is anyone on the right who uses the same left-wing tactic. Okay, someone's explaining it to me here. Who uses the same left-wing tactic of oppressor-oppressed critical theory to argue their point. So, okay, so would this qualify here? This, the reason they don't like us is because we're oppressing them, and we're the oppressors, and they're the oppressed, and therefore they're not wrong. And is that why they could be called woke right at this point?
Maybe.
That seems reasonable. Seems like what they're doing. And then it's the same thing with Israel and everyone else. You see, the poor Palestinians, they're just the only reason they're mad is not because they hate Jews, it's because they're oppressed, even though we all hate Jews. If only America wouldn't have bombed the Middle East, Islam would never have invaded. That's funny. If only America wouldn't have bombed the Middle East, Islam would never have invaded Spain and Europe. That's true. You guys have to break down the Captain C. J. Dyer Muslim video. It's honestly heretical and disrespectful to the true God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Wait, are you saying there's a J. Dyer video, or it's a response to J. Dyer by a Muslim?
Capturing Christianity, J. Dyer Muslim.
Oh, Capturing Christianity. Okay. I thought this was like Captain C. Hey, you want to do that, man? We won't do it right now, but you want to do that sometime this week? Go through that, and then we'll make fun of Cameron?
I don't know, man.
We'll see. Well, it would be fun to make fun of Cameron as he's there. And guys, come on, man. We all worship the same God here.
On the one hand, I feel like this is a conversation that maybe we should have and we should look into further. On the other hand, I feel like what a waste of time.
I'm just looking for drama. You know what I mean? So if he's blasting away at Jay Dyer, and we're blasting away at him, then we're all blasting away at each other. It's good drama, but it's cool because it's not the stuff that it's more lighthearted than the stuff that everyone else is fighting over right now. It's like, hey, you're saying that we all worship the same God. What do you mean by that? That's normally the question. What do you mean? If you mean we all worship a creator an all-powerful creator who created the universe and so on, you could say we're worshiping the same God. You guys just are hopelessly confused about the nature of the one true God. And so you have a bad idea of what the one true God is and so on. But you could also say, and you're looking through the description, your God is specifically defined in opposition to the God of the Bible. Like the characteristics, the features, the attributes of your God. Some of those are like specifically defined against Christian theology as a response to Christian theology. So anyway, yeah. Maybe we'll check it. Maybe we'll check that out.
So the thing is with the whole issue, with the whole topic of whether Christians and Muslims worship the same God or not. I mean, I think you too. We are definitely completely on the side of Jay Dyer here in this whole discussion, in this entire debate. He would say that no, we absolutely do not worship the same God, and even suggesting that we worship the same God is kind of is messed up. And I would agree with him on that. But the thing is, when certain Catholics comment because of their recent Catholic history, say no, actually we do worship the same God, and they're basically saying that because the Pope said it and because their document said it, then my response to it would just be. If that's what you think, then whatever, but it's just, but that's nonsense. Yeah. But I wouldn't want to get into a fight because of this, But I completely agree with Jay Dyer here. So,
well, that's the thing. That's the difference when we're talking about it. Like, we're friends with Cameron, so we could blast away at him, and there's not this. Oh, we're all gonna kill each other because we actually get along and stuff. So it's kind of fun. It's more fun. Anyway, I'm grinning because someone had posted on Twitter, they called them the Hodge twins, but Hajj. And I thought, the Hodge twins, because now they're defending Islam. I was thinking that'd be funny for the thumbnail if I make out what the Hodge twins need to know about Islam, and then I call them the Hodge twins in the thumbnail. Hodge, Hajj, as in the pilgrimage, everyone. In case anyone's not familiar with the Hodge.
I want to have a look at what St. John Damascus.
Hang on. AP's doing some quick research, ladies and gentlemen. I wonder, just wonder about wondering. That's a good thing to wonder about. I wonder about that too. My dad thinks Catholics created Islam because the Jesuits are trying to create a new world order. Only source I found was a crusty 10-year-old sermon. Yeah, it's funny. It's one thing if you say Catholics, because Catholics existed back then. It is hilarious how people associate with the Jesuits. The Jesuits didn't exist when Islam was conquering the world. Jesuits didn't exist yet. And so it's always funny to bring Jesuits into something. Did you guys see the video of Arul being attacked?
What being attacked? Arul? No.
Arul, what is that? Look it up now.
There is also the superstition of the Ishmaelites, which to this day prevails and keeps people in error, being a forerunner of the Antichrist. They are descended from Ishmael, who was born to Abraham of Agar, and for this reason they are called both Agarenes and Ishmaelites. This is talking about Muslims. They're also called Saracens, which is derived from Saras Kevoy, or Destitute of Sarah. Anyway, continue. I'll get to it. I'll see.
Looking at this. Salem West MLAR Arul irked by social media attacks on... Wait, this is social media attacks. What is this? Arul being attacked. Mr. Arul said he was disappointed that he was mocked despite being attacked and being admitted to the hospital. What is this? I have no idea what this is about. It is today. Huh. Yeah, I don't understand what this is about. Let's see. When I find myself in times of doubt, brother... When I find myself in times of doubt, Brother Mojab comes to me, shouting lies of Dawa. Let us see. Should be, you see, this is the proof. Has Mossab Yusuf Hassan reacted to Iran attacks? I haven't checked. You want to check on that, AD? With that little?
He did. I mean, he said he posted a little bit on Twitter.
I'm guessing basically, he would be big fan.
Yeah, pretty much, basically.
Alham to Ulu. IRGC has had their balls ripped off by Jews and B2s. Jews and B2s. That sounds like a song for you to write, AP. About who's coming after Iran. Jews and B2s. Do you know what that sounds like? Do you know what that sounds like? Do you know what that smells like? They beat me in the desert. Notice news don't react as much when Christians are unalive, but the whole world panics when a Jew or Muslim is unalive. I have to say, if this had been a mosque attack, it would be international news for not just for the next 50 years, but every future attack that Muslims launch, it would be, but look, here Muslims were attacked. So you see, everyone has their radicals. That's how it would, that's what it would be. Do you recall anything like that happening in a mosque in U.S. or UK or something? I guess you're asking, when do we see these attacks? Because the newspaper said this could have been anywhere. This could have been in a church or a mosque or a temple. It's like, yeah, when do you see this in a mosque? There's been tons of church attacks. Very rare to have a mosque attack. And usually when you do hear about a mosque attack, like in Pakistan or something, it's a rival Muslim group attacking that mosque. What are you saying, AP? Are you still looking up John of Damascus?
Yeah, I think Saint John of Damascus doesn't take any clear position on whether they do or do not, but he basically says that the Muslims accuse us of polytheism because they do not believe in the true God, or Jesus Christ, and the Father and Son and Holy Spirit, and so on. So he basically implies that they don't believe in the same God. That's what he's saying. But I find some of the things that he says here very funny. Um, he also made it legal to put away whichever wife one might wish, and should once a wish to take to take oneself another in the same way. Muhammad had a friend named Zayd. This man had a beautiful wife with whom Muhammad fell in love. Once, when they were sitting together, Muhammad said, "Oh, by the way, God has commanded me to take your wife." The other answered, "You're an apostle. Do as God has told you and take my wife." Rather, to tell the story over from the beginning, he said to him, "God has given me the command that you put away your wife," and so on. So he's kind of referencing some of the really messed up things
Yeah,
in Islam
that's pretty funny.
in some ways. It's cool.
That's pretty funny. We had a follow up here from Ida that the in US or UK or something. That was a typo. He says, or in UK, I mean, correcting the last super chat. Yeah. I can't recall anything like that. May have been attacks like that, but and the only mosque attacks I can think of were by other Muslim groups at some point. I bet if my atheist friend saw that church shooting, he would say that was obviously AI. We have all been humiliated. At the level people are screaming false flags and psyops and so on, it is kind of a matter of time before you can have church shootings and people will say, nope, it's just fake, it's AI. DWOD AP, I teach theology and apologetics in Wayne City, and we get to evangelize to Muslims in Dearborn. Can you address my students on what to study and why it matters? Also, why your cross tats are based and why teachers with the same tat are two. Oh, R2. Let's see. I teach theology and apologetics in Wayne City. We get to evangelize to Muslims in Dearborn. Can you address to my students what to study? Guys, I will say one thing. I will say one thing you should study. There are other things you should study, but you should learn the Islamic dilemma. Look up the Islamic dilemma. Learn it well. If you learn it, you'll be effective in like 95% of your conversations with Muslims. If you learn it well, you will be effective in 100% of your conversations with Muslims. So learn the Islamic dilemma. That's basically for anyone who's never heard of that before, in which case I have no idea where you've been. But the Quran affirms, almost every Muslim you run into thinks the Quran says the Bible's been corrupted. Wrong. False. It's a lie. It's a myth. The Quran affirms the inspiration, the preservation, and the authority of the Jewish and Christian scriptures, and yet contradicts them on basic doctrines. This gives rise to a dilemma. The dilemma is, and different people formulate the dilemma in different ways, but the way I put it is basically two possibilities. Either we have the inspired, preserved, authoritative Word of God, or we don't. I'm talking about what Christians have. If we have the inspired, preserved, authoritative Word of God, Islam is false because Islam contradicts what we have on basic doctrines. So that's one possibility. The other possibility is if we don't have the inspired, preserved, authoritative Word of God, Islam is still false because Islam affirms the inspiration, the preservation, and the authority of our scriptures. So teach the children that. And I just have to say, if Christians in general, if that became normal to teach Christians that, dawah would be finished forever, just by that alone.
I must say, I have lots of ideas for arguments, lots of specific discussions against Islam. But I have to say, so from everything that I have experienced and seen over the years, so David's Islamic dilemma and the Islamic dilemma in general is, I would say, the singular strongest argument against Islam. So I would definitely agree on that 1,000,000 times and advise learning the Islamic dilemma and bringing it to Muslims. They have no response to it, and it is absolutely crushing to their Islamic faith. And not only is it crushing to their Islamic faith, it also directly strengthens the Bible and strengthens Christianity. So.
Yeah, and so there are other arguments that are useful and helpful, responding to dawah arguments and then defending against various objections to Christianity and moral problems with Muhammad. The awesome thing about the Islamic dilemma, there are multiple awesome things. One, it's absolutely devastating. Like the entire religion just self-destructs with one argument. So one argument does it all. Two, it's something that's always going to come up in a discussion with Muslims, right? In other words, they're going to bring it up. You don't have to launch out with the Islamic dilemma. You don't have to go up and say, hey, I've got a dilemma for you, right? You can just start having any conversation with Muslims. The moment you start talking about Jesus' death or his resurrection or his deity, they have to bring up, but your Bible's been corrupted. And then they just open the door, wide open door. So there's that. The point that it's always going to come up in a discussion. So if you're ready for it, you're just waiting for the opportunity for it to come up in a discussion, but it is guaranteed to come up. That, and although there are all kinds of problems with Muhammad, and AP just brought up Muhammad's relationship with Zainab, we have Muhammad's marriage to a prepubescent girl and so on, all these kinds of issues that we use against Muhammad, not everyone is comfortable talking about that stuff. In other words, not everyone wants to be in a discussion with a Muslim on the street talking about Muhammad having sex with a prepubescent girl or something like that. So they're not comfortable talking about that. And they don't want to be attacked, and they don't want to hurt the Muslims' feelings or something like that. So there are people like that. So that's what's great about the Islamic dilemma. You're not on any sort of sensitive, you're not dealing with any sensitive topic that some people might not want to talk about. Because most people are like, I don't want to talk about a guy having sex with a little girl. It's just, I don't even want to talk about that. Anyway, so Islamic dilemma all the way. It's awesome in multiple ways. Let's see. Wayne is only about 20 minutes from Dearborn. Yeah, I still have no reason to think that this attack has anything to do with Dearborn. It could. The timing is the only thing that has any connection so far. But other than that, police are describing as the attacker as white male with mental problems.
Well, you could say the same thing about Muslim converts. So.
I know. I've said that, and I've said it's more common in Europe. But after every terrorist attack with some guy screaming Allahu Akbar, they say, and the guy has mental problems, and then they send the guy to a mental hospital. And by the way, that's part of the danger of all this stuff, which is now being propagated by the Taj twins, that Islam is actually a religion of peace and tolerance. And so, if you actually absorb that idea, if all your journalists, all your police investigators, your government officials have all absorbed the idea that Islam is a religion of peace and tolerance, and its teachings are good and peaceful, as George W. Bush said, its teachings are good and peaceful. Then if someone says, I'm going to kill in the name of this, and you think the person obviously has mental problems. He obviously has mental problems. Why? Because you've absorbed the stupid idea that this is all about peace. And therefore, anyone who sees something else, it's got to be a mental problem. You got to be delusional or something like that. Because there's no way you would read, fight those who do not believe in Allah and think it means what it says. We got some work to do, man. Some stupid nonsense spreading, AP. Get back to making regular videos. We need to make some. AP, the Syrian Christians are not only orthobros, but faithful sons of the Holy Catholic Church in full communion with Rome. Get that in you? That's impossible. Everything this guy just said is impossible. How's this possible?
Well, as I just said, unless you want to talk about a certain branch of Syriac Christians, Syria has a very diverse Christian demographic, but it is led by mostly Eastern Orthodox, then Oriental Orthodox, then Catholic, and then small minorities of others. So,
All right, we'll take a couple more here, and then we'll jump into the next article about.
And
Syria.
by Catholic, I mean Catholic including Eastern Catholics in communion with the Catholic Church. So.
And Protestants. Laura Loomer gave Candace a new name, Tehran Candy. Did you see that? That's pretty funny. Tehran Candy. Let's see. Not really reported enough is the persecution of Christians in atheist countries in the past. Yeah, communist places. Yeah, communist places. Religion is the opium of the masses and stuff. So you got to get rid of it. If we really want to strike Iran, we need to threaten to block Goat Hub from Iran. Then they'll come to the table. That's how they should be doing it. Shouldn't be all this. Hey, we're gonna blow up your. Just look, we're gonna block Goat Hub. IRGC. We are not building nukes. We swear by Allah. Also, IRGC. Now that you stopped us building a nuke, we'll get one from Russia instead. That's funny. I was told to think of the Trinity like a shamrock. Yeah, people have used that. Soon Israel, keep in mind, guys, most analogies, you always want to, whenever you're using an analogy, you want to say, I'm not saying that this is like the Trinity in a bunch of different ways or significantly. This is usually examples, analogies are just our responses to the objection. How can God be one in one way and more than one in another way? And so you come up with different ways of saying, here's something that's one in one way and more than one in another way. And so just clarify that, because you don't want to think that you're trying to show more than you're actually trying to show. Soon Israel and Iran will bow down to Christ. Everyone's going to bow to Christ. Yes. The entire world. Everyone will bow to the Messiah. Knows too much, says Trump. Iran, no to uranium, have some zutanium. Trump, Iran, no to uranium, instead have some zutanium. It'd be cool if someone actually said that, like someone in a position of authority. Start drama in the Christian Ummah. That's what we do. That's what we do. And that's why Cameron is about to get schooled. My lady showed Goldie Gamaris tweet about Reza Pahlavi conference half an hour ago.
Goldie is based.
Who's my lady?
His lady, yes.
Oh, okay. I thought there's some channel called My Lady or something like that.
I don't know. Goldie is super based, and I think she needs more platform by people. For some reason, she sticks to just.
You were on that X thing with her a couple days ago, right? On Iran.
Yeah.
Why don't you have her on your show, man? Have you had her on your show yet?
That's what we were going to do the other day, and then she canceled and said, "I have to stick to the spaces right now. There are lots of Iranians connecting and so on." I was like, "Okay, fine." So yeah,
smart. Okay, here we have. Okay, as far as Arul being attacked, he was jumped by a gang of Muslims. Oh, Manchester. I thought this was something in like India or something like that. Arul, he was jumped by a gang of Muslims in Manchester. First, most recent video on Operation Stephen YouTube channel.
I just looked it up. So there is some Christian guy who was preaching and who was jumped by a bunch of Muslims running away. I couldn't really follow the whole thing, but I have to check it out later more.
Yeah, we will check that out. We'll check that out. That would be kind of crazy. UK, Manchester, man. Manchester. Gabriel says, saying Muslims and Christians worship the same God is like saying Muslims believe in God. Okay, now what? When you get into the details, what's the point? May God help the church. Yep. Why everyone debate among Christians ends in the Antichrist? Why every debate among Christian ends in the Antichrist? What? What are you talking about? You forgot to mention why your Jerusalem tattoo is based and why the students need to know I'm based for having the same one. Oh, he's got the same tattoo, AP. Why don't you explain why your tattoo is based?
The tattoo is based for various reasons, including why is it based? I don't know what to say, man. So it is from a Coptic tattoo artist place in Jerusalem, and it is the Jerusalem cross. Here, the Jerusalem cross. I don't know, man. Just explain.
Yeah, so AP picked this one out because they got the guys. If you're in the old city of Jerusalem, Christian Quarter, go to Razooks. We kind of went there by accident because we were renting a room, and we were renting a little apartment while we were there, and it came up as Razooks, and so I looked it up. I was like, "Hey, wait a minute! Is this a Muslim spot, or what is this? Is this Muslim? Is this some Arab Christian something going?" Anyway, I looked it up because I was wondering what who we're gonna meet when we were there. And then it turns out the apartment we rent used to be Razooks Tattoo Shop and so on. But anyway, then we ended up going and we asked the guy why it's called Razooks and stuff like that. And he explained that it used to be the tattoo shop and stuff because I said anyway, then we ended up going over to Razooks Tattoo Shop, which is in a different spot now. And They've got the book, but it's actually cool because these designs are all like from like 6-7 centuries ago, and they're all carved in olive wood. And they do tattoos different over there than they do them over here. But yeah,
It's basically full of Christian symbolism. It is associated with Jerusalem because this is the cross that is generally associated with Jerusalem, with the kingdom of Jerusalem, and so on. Then it has the three crowns on top of it. It has the Star of Bethlehem on top of it. It has that thing, whatever that's called. But it is a very historical, very symbolic, very based Christian symbol. And the funny thing is, I got this when I wasn't even Christian. So
yeah, it's funny. He's like, yes, I like it. It's very based. It's so based. I'm gonna get it. It's also funny that as I mentioned that their designs are like centuries old, and they don't know what some of them mean anymore because it's kind of been lost. But anyway, like you've got the three crowns here. They said, we don't know if that's referring to like the Magi, because you have the Star of Bethlehem there. We don't know if that's about the Magi, representing the Magi, or if that's representing the Trinity. It's like we don't know. So anyway, it's kind of cool. Cool stuff. All right, now you have your answer. It is very based. Cam and his peeps made good points, but ultimately, if we agree with them, then Avery's statue in his closet is also the one true God. Statue in his closet. Okay. They did troll Jay pretty good on X. See, that's the thing. I like the idea of trolling Jay. Hey, AP, you want to set it off? Tell Jay Dyer to join us live as we go through this and completely humiliate Cam. That would be base, man. If the attacker is a ginger, guaranteed Mohammedan attack. That would be true. That would be true. Every ginger is a jihadi waiting to happen. Quran itself is not a miracle, fails its own standard. That's true. Have either of you heard You're the Almighty God by Nikos Politis? It is apparently what he heard in heaven when he died temporarily. This should be what all worship music sounds like it. Well, yeah, if you take him seriously. But no, I have not heard it. But I just screenshotted that. I'll check it out. Mojab, when I find myself late to the mosque, Satan comes... Oh. When I find myself late to the mosque, Satan comes to me, whispering golden showers, Satan peace, Satan peace, Satan peace, urinating in my ear, Satan peace. Okay, I think we got that. Very rude to be joking about this stuff, though. Zechariah 14 speaks of a time when God will gather all the nations to Jerusalem to fight against it. God shows up to fight. When do you see this happening? I have no idea. Could happen tomorrow. Could happen 10,000 years from now. And most significantly for me, could happen in ways that are completely different from anything you would ever expect. And in other words, the actual fulfillment is not how people are interpreting things. So I don't know. I was having a debate with a Muslim online, and he tried to tell me that Surah 5:43-48 was about Jesus, and the scholars I used were cherry-picked. I mean, Jesus is in 5:46, so you do have that. What do you mean was about Jesus and the scholars I used were cherry-picked? What do you mean? You could just read 5:43-48. You don't need to go to any scholars. Very clear what that's saying. 5:43-48 is Jews judged by the Torah, Christians judged by the gospel. The Quran protects the Torah and the gospel by not letting Christians and Jews deviate from them when they try to deviate from them. And Allah wants there to be different communities with different teachings so that they all compete with each other in good works. What's this mean? The Torah is still as good as gold. That's what Christians are supposed to judge by. The Injil, that's what Jews are supposed to judge by. The Injil, the gospel, is as good as gold. It's what Christians are supposed to judge by. Muslims are supposed to judge by the Quran. And any other differences, you wait for the judgment. Why is this relevant? It's completely different from what Muslims say. Namely, all your former books are corrupted and everyone just needs to believe in the Quran right now. It's absolutely not the message of the Quran. Someone needs to get Trump to reference Al-Zut. If anyone could get Donald Trump to reference Al-Zut, name your reward. I'll do it. That's a good-looking parking lot. Oh, wait, sorry. Hi, Iranian nuclear facility. Yeah, it's a good parking lot now. Islamic State just soup said bombed a Greek Orthodox church in Syria, 22 casualties. Yeah, we're about to look at that. But people keep sending super chats. You know, apparently Glenn Greenwald is involved in extortion scam. It told he holds 6,000 WhatsApp messages to important Brazilians, which he uses to extort. That's pretty creepy. I still don't know much about Glenn Greenwald. I've seen the name a ton of times. I don't know anything about him. Between Iran and America, Iran is the GOAT. Yeah, sure are. They hate us because they ain't us. The interview. That's true. Almost got through these. Friends in Norway said they're advanced and enlightened without religion, but they're all depressed hedonists, praying they reconcile with Christ. It's also this little side issue of, hey, we're all happy atheists up here, and for some reason they can't stop inviting Islam in fast enough. It's an iron dome above on the tattoo. Oh, that's funny. You got the iron dome. He's calling this calling that the Iron Dome over it. That's funny. All right, guys. Thank you for all the distractions. Now we can get to the topic we're here to address. All right, AP, you ready for this? I don't want to show. Now, this one, ladies and gentlemen, there are pictures of inside the church, and it's splattered with blood. I don't want to... there's a good chance I would get age restricted and that people would not be able to see this unless they're logged in, and adults and so on. So I'm going to avoid sharing any pictures, but we will check out this article. You ready, AP?
Mm-hmm.
All right. So what we have, suicide bomber kills at least 22 in Greek Orthodox Church in Syria during divine liturgy. You guys always keep your eyes on the numbers, 22, because dozens more were injured, and usually the casualty number goes up because some people don't make it in the hospital and so on. But as of this article being released, it was 22 casualties. Douala, Syria. Apostate Prophet News. A suicide bomber in Syria opened fire, then detonated an explosive vest. Hey, there's something cool. I think, is it in this article? Again, I read a couple right before we went live, but one of these says the guys charged him. The church charged him, which is based. Anyway, a suicide bomber in Syria opened fire, then detonated an explosive vest inside a Greek Orthodox church filled with people praying on Sunday, killing at least 22 and wounding 63 others, state media reported. So came in, gun blazing, then detonated his vest. The attack took place in Douala on the outskirts of Damascus inside the Mar Elias Church, according to state media Sana, citing the health ministry for the toll of dead and wounded. Britain-based War Monitor, the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights, said there were at least 19 people killed and dozens wounded, but did not give exact numbers. Some local media reported that children were among the casualties. Lots of people trying to kill Christian kids today. The attack on the church was the first of its kind in Syria in years, and comes as Damascus. Isn't this interesting? The first of its kind in Syria in years. Why is that? What has changed in Syria? Oh, a bunch of ISIS jihadis took over. Wonder if that has anything to do with this. The attack on the church was the first of its kind in Syria in years, and comes as Damascus, under its de facto Islamist rule, is trying to win the support of minorities. You imagine this? Hey, Syrian leaders, you want to win the support of minorities? How about protecting them? That would be kind of step number one there. Protect them from ISIS jihadis. Oh, wait, you have a bunch of ISIS jihadis in positions of power. How's that going to work? This is what sucks about Syria right now. It's like anything they do, even if they did, anything the leaders do, I would not trust it. Because it's like, are you doing it for show because you're trying to win support while you solidify your power? Or are you actually doing it because you're good leaders? Well, evidence for me would indicate anything you're doing is for show at this point. Why? Because you're a bunch of freaking jihadis. That's why. And I don't trust you. So anyway, as President Ahmad al-Sharaa struggles to exert authority across the country, there have been concerns about the presence of sleeper cells of extremist groups in the war-torn country. No group immediately claimed responsibility Sunday. Syrian Interior Ministry spokesman Nuruddin al-Baba. It would be cool if it went by Alibaba. That would just be cooler. Al-Baba said in a news conference that their preliminary investigation points to the extremist Islamic State group. You think? The ministry said one gunman entered the church. One gunman? That's plural. Fix your stuff. One gunman? My goodness. I'm sorry. The ministry said one gunman entered the church, fired at the people there before detonating himself with an explosives vest, echoing some witness testimonies. The security of places of worship is a red line, he said, adding that Islamic State and remaining members of the ousted Assad government are trying to destabilize Syria. So saying what you're saying, this might be ousted Assad government people who are trying to destabilize Syria. Syrian Information Minister Hamza Mustafa condemned the attack, calling it a terrorist attack. Oh, really? This is a terrorist attack?
Really?
Thank you. Such valuable information, Syrian Information Minister Hamza Mustafa.
Thanks.
Is the sky blue? Huh? Is that breaking news? Calls it a terrorist attack. Shocker. This cowardly act goes against the civic values that bring us together. Yeah. Islam goes against values that bring people together, he said on X. We will not back down from our commitment to equal citizenship. Equal citizenship? Come on, man. What is this, dude? These are the Sunni jihadi leaders who took over. We will not back down from our commitment to equal citizenship. Yeah, I know you're not serious when you say equal citizenship. Why? It goes against Islam. And we also affirm the state's pledge to exert all its efforts to combat criminal organizations and to protect society from all attacks threatening its safety. Criminal organizations? You're calling jihadi groups, ISIS jihadis, criminal organizations? Keep in mind, I want you to call them criminal organizations, but we don't believe you because you're all on the same you're all on the same team with these guys. Witnesses said the gunman they got it on the singular this time. Witnesses said the gunman with his face covered entered and fired at the people. There you go, AP. Here it is. Witnesses said the gunman with his face covered entered and fired at the people. When a crowd charged at him to remove him from the church, he detonated his explosives at the entrance. That's what you do, guys. If you're in a situation where the attack is starting outside or something like that, you want to get away from it as quickly as possible. If a guy's up in your church and firing, you charge. And when I say charge, I mean the men. Men charge. When a crowd charged at him to remove him from the church, he detonated his explosives at the entrance. Syria's Social Affairs and Labor Minister Hind Kabawat, the country's Christian and female minister, met with the clergy at the church in the evening to express her condolences. People were praying safely under the eyes of God, said Father Fadi Gattas, who said he saw at least 20 people killed with his own eyes. There were 350 people praying at the church. However, Meletius Shahati, a church priest, said there was a second gunman who shot at the church door before the other person detonated himself. Issam Nasser, who was praying at the church, said he saw people blown to bits. We have never held a knife in our lives. All we ever carried were our prayers, he said. So these guys don't carry weapons of any kind. He said, we've never held a knife in our lives. All we ever carried were our prayers. Security forces and first responders rushed to the church. Panicked survivors wailed as one lady fell to her knees and burst into tears. A photo circulated by Syrian state media, Sana, showed the church's pews covered in debris and blood. And yes, you can find those pictures. You can find them in the news articles. You can also find them all over X. We will not look at them. But yes, bloody, terrible, bloody sight. And of course, in addition to all that, we've got the Hodge twins. Anybody ever thought maybe these Middle East countries wouldn't hate us if we would just let them alone years ago? Yeah. Yep. If it weren't for the attack in Iran, ISIS jihadis who also hate Iran and want to destroy them would not have attacked this church. Thank you. Brilliant theology experts and historians, Hodge twins. You're doing a bang
I
up job, guys.
just checked. I just sent you 2 photos. I think they don't have blood on them. Maybe you could look at them and see. I sent them to you per email, but you could check them out. I don't think they have blood on them. They just show the inside of the church. But yeah, so this is so today is Sunday, of course. The Sunday service, the Divine Liturgy in the Orthodox Church. I don't know what I still don't really know when exactly at what time this happened, but we were at church this morning, and after church, after attending the Divine Liturgy myself with my family, we sat down and I had some very 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 beautiful conversations about Christianity, about Christ. Talked a lot about things that I'm beginning to understand, learning to understand, and then later on I checked Twitter and I checked the news and I see that another Greek Orthodox church in Syria under the Antiochian Greek Orthodox Patriarchate is shot and bombed in the name of Islam once again. And it's just, I don't know, man. I was talking about certain things today about how Christianity is so different. I was having a conversation with somebody that I have established a very very good relationship with, from whom I learn a lot these days, and I was asking him questions about, for example, the issue of fear of God, how to really understand the matter of fear of God, because I don't find myself coming to faith and having faith in God and believing and expressing my belief. I don't really feel the whole fear of God thing, but then maybe I don't really understand what fear of God really means in the biblical context or in the Christian context, considering that in Islam, what I learned as fear of God is basically that there is a tyrant, a tyrannical God who just treats you like a slave, and of whom you are afraid. You don't want to disobey him, because if you disobey him, then he will brutally punish you. He will torture you. He will skin you alive. He will burn you, do all kinds of messed up things to you. Whereas this is not really the image of God that you have in Christianity. This is not the reason why you need to be afraid or anything. So I was talking with him about the fear of God, the love of God, and all those things. And we went into a whole deep conversation, also because of the Divine Liturgy, because of the Sunday service and the Eucharist, about Christ's position on in the world and on the cross. And we went into a very beautiful, deep conversation, which goes into a territory that really makes me appreciate the beauty of Christianity the more I understand it, which is that which is the concept or the reality that God in Jesus descends and becomes one of us. For example, there is this one criticism that some skeptics or some anti-Christians have, where they say, "Why did he say, why have you forsaken me? Why did he say that on the cross?" And then, but there's actually such beauty to it, because you have Christ who descends, who becomes man, who has his divine nature, but also takes on a human nature, becomes just like you and me, despite being above everything, despite being greater, bigger than everything there is. He descends and takes on a nature and becomes the lowest of us while he is on earth. And in that state, as he is the lowest of us, he then becomes you and becomes me, becomes us, and then prays to the divine, prays to God. He basically gives us an example. He does it on our behalf. He intercedes for us, and he becomes completely relatable by directly becoming us and calling us to unite with him and to follow him. There is such beauty in that, which you can never even dream of, never even begin to understand when you are in the Islamic religion. where the divine, where God directly comes on your level and guides you and leads you, holds your hand, walks with you, and asks you to walk with him, to receive salvation. There's something so beautiful, something so lovely, so amazing, so absolutely wonderful about it. I didn't understand in the past why this is how it would happen. And I thought, oh, so God has to come down to sacrifice himself. No, it's not like that at all. God chooses to do it this way. And he does it for us. And there is nothing but beauty in it. There's nothing but amazing love and grace in it. He directly comes to your level and leads you. You don't have that in Islam. In Islam, all you have is hate. All you have is you are a slave, and Allah is your slave master. You are a slave, and he is the one who tortures you if you misbehave. He is your master. He is the slave master, and he tells you to hate the others and to fight them on his behalf. Whereas in Christianity, you have God directly becoming like you just because he chooses to, just because he wants to, just because that's what he does, just because that's what his plan is. And you feel the love of it. You don't feel the hate of it. Of course, then you will have these animals in the name of Islam come and with their hate let it out and kill a bunch of peaceful, loving people who are in the middle of participating in one of the most beautiful things that humans can experience, which is the divine liturgy, which is the communion.
Now we have, this ends the segment, Deep Thoughts with AP. So here's the inside of the church. You see this, AP? Here is the inside of the church. Huge mess. And it tells you the explosion would have been pretty big. Lots of stuff knocked down, lots of stuff knocked over, lots of stuff. See, the stuff that's knocked down from the walls and stuff that's knocked over, like pews being knocked aside, you could say, well, that's from people running or something like that. But you've got stuff that's knocked down on the walls and stuff like that, like upper right corner, and so on, and then on the left as well. So, yeah, those pews probably saved some lives.
Yeah.
But you can tell it would have been a pretty powerful explosion if it's knocking stuff off walls on the opposite end of the church. So we've got that. Take that down. Look at one more pic from that AP sent. Lots of the pictures are covered in blood. We're looking at the no blood ones.
Did you check if there was blood? I think I didn't see any blood on this, but yeah.
And here we have, there you got the white helmets. They did a documentary about those guys back in the day. So that's after the white helmets showed up.
It's a beautiful church too. It's like looking at it from the outside. You see that part where that cross is, which is a window to the outside. But it's just such a natural way of.
That is a cool way of doing it. How does
the cross becoming light? Yeah.
Why wouldn't every church do that? Doesn't that seem like every church should be doing that? Should have a cross-shaped window where the light beams through during the service?
I don't know. They should, but it's amazing.
Everyone, if you're building a church, yeah, guys, if you're building a church out there, do that. That's just cool.
It probably doesn't work everywhere, but
yeah, but like, why wouldn't it? If you just bought a church building and so on, and now it might not work because you might not have the sun blazing through. The sun could be on the wrong side of the building or something like that. But if you just have light coming through in a window shaped like a cross, seems like it's going to be cool no matter what, man.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
All right. So anyway, guys, that's what's been going on. Have one more thing we want to look at, and that's a little clip from our good friend Sheikh Yasser Qadhi. And matter of fact, he responded. He responded to this, and basically, if I recall, he said something like, that's just, I'm talking about Israel, I'm not talking about America, because you don't want to get in trouble in America. But let's see. Yasser Qadi. Do want to be fair and let him respond to the video clip we're about to look at. Where is it? Is he even on Twitter? Yeah, he's on Twitter.
Just before as we were talking earlier, I was looking at prayers for the departed and prayers for martyrs and all that. The issue is the only reason that I don't want to say a prayer right here and kind of lead a prayer is that I'm very humble.
Yeah.
No,
dude, you're not even baptized.
It's because I don't want to act like I'm leading anybody in prayer or anything. So I would just ask everybody to pray for the people in the Middle East, to pray for the people in Syria, to pray for the Christians, but also for all the non-Christians and all the others. And may God have mercy on them all.
Oh,
and these guys are martyrs. Martyrs, that's what they are.
Hey, he's responding to you, man.
Who?
Yasser Qadi.
Oh yeah, he did. He responded.
I saw that he had responded. I saw that he had responded because people were sharing his response. I didn't know he's actually responding to you. Let me see.
I called him out and he responded to me.
We'll actually pull this up. Yasser Qadi. We'll get Yasser Qadi's response, ladies and gentlemen, to AP's heartless and misleading tweet. Where is it? AP's in the big leagues now. Hey, remember what did Yasser? I need to get my soundboard back out because I had that awesome clip of Yasser Qadi calling him an evil, vile, repugnant, whatever, like he went through the thesaurus like a job. Let's see. Yasser Qadi. We got Sheikh Yasser Qadi, ladies and gentlemen. Let's go ahead and watch the video first. So this is the video where AP used it to horribly misrepresent Sheikh Yasser Qadi.
Wallahi, they are not the same. And I say this as somebody who strongly disagrees theologically and politically with the country of Iran. But still, on the one hand, you have Iman, even if it has mistakes. And the other, you have not just kufr, but blatant kufr. Not just average kufr, but the most deviant, arrogant type of kufr that we have not seen for many millennia. This is pharaonic kufr on the one side. No matter whatever mistakes the other side is making, you cannot equate the two. And so, in this current conflict going on, I state unequivocally that yes, while I do not support Iran unconditionally in this conflict, whatever grievances we have, and we have grievances, let us agree to pause them for the time being. I'm not saying ignore. Once things settle down, once things are calm, once we have both eliminated the common enemy.
Once we have both eliminated the common enemy.
Who is the common enemy?
So most people...
Who is the common enemy?
You would interpret that
Who is the common... Sorry, go ahead.
You would interpret that as whoever the common enemy is, which would include most obviously Israel and the United States. Seems like I haven't looked at his response, but I glanced at it earlier, and it seems like he's saying he's not talking about the United States, and so this is before. No, I didn't read it because I didn't even click on it, but I saw he saying something like this is before the attack, and therefore it's not about the United States or something like that. But we're going to go ahead and read it. We want to be accurate. Let me play this one more time because it is kind of messed up. He's saying Iran and Sunni Muslims and Shia Muslims should be on the same side when it comes to eliminating their common enemy. So he's at least talking about Israel here, right? Like, obviously. What do you think?
Yeah.
Let's see.
Wallahi, they are not the same. And I say this as somebody who strongly disagrees theologically and politically with the country of Iran. But still, on the one hand, you have Iman, even if it has mistakes. On the other, you have not just kufr, but blatant kufr. Not just average kufr, but the most deviant, arrogant type of kufr that we have not seen for many millennia. This is pharaonic kufr on the one side. No matter whatever mistakes the other side is making, you cannot equate the two. And so, in this current conflict going on, I state unequivocally that yes, while I do not support Iran unconditionally in this conflict, whatever grievances we have, and we have grievances, let us agree to pause them for the time being. I'm not saying ignore. Once things settle down, once things are calm, once we have both eliminated the common enemy.
Once we have both eliminated the common enemy. Not that. Once we have both eliminated the common enemy. Sunnis and Shias working together to eliminate the common enemy. Then we'll deal with the Shias. Isn't it interesting they have the same approach? Let's align ourselves with people we disagree with and ultimately want to destroy out of convenience for eliminating another enemy. This is how they... Sitting there telling you how his thinking works, right? He's the same guy. Yes, let's align with the left, and let's align with this, and let's align with Queers for Palestine. Let's do all this while we eliminate our common enemy, and then we'll deal with these guys. And people fall for this nonsense. And hey, they want to work with us. Yay, it's great. All right, so let's check out Sheikh Yasser Qadhi's response to AP here. Let's see. This is Sheikh Yasser Qadhi. And he is responding to, here we go, AP. So AP says, American Muslim scholar Yasser Qadhi tells Sunni Muslims in America to side with Iran until they eliminate the common enemy. Who is the common enemy? What do you think he was talking about, AP? Think he was talking about the U.S.?
No, well, there in this case, he was obviously talking about Israel, but he's naturally also talking about America, especially right now. Does he now change his mind about fighting the common enemy? Of course not.
And yeah, of course, this guy wants to conquer America and all that stuff, but he can't say it because I think he lives in like Texas or something like that.
Yeah.
So anyway, can't say what he actually thinks about stuff, ladies and gentlemen. But anyway. Here's his response. First and foremost, these comments were made before the U.S. struck Iranian nuclear sites. Hence, there is no reference to America. No, you just said common enemy. Secondly, it is deeply unfortunate that for some people, American and Israeli foreign policy have become so entangled that criticizing one is seen as attacking both. That's interesting. So he's saying he's not attacking both, therefore he's just attacking Israel, right? He is saying that. What did he say? He talked about eliminating the common enemy. So this is a guy who's talking about eliminating Israel. He just said he's saying it right here, right, guys? Saying, hey, if you think this is about America, you've got a problem because, you can't just associate everything with Israel with America. So what's that mean? He's talking about eliminating Israel. And yet Israel's bad if they don't want to be eliminated. America first means, this guy's talking about America first. America first means I want to see, wait, he's America first now? You heard it here, folks. Yasser Qadhi is America first, not Islam first, not jihad first, not Sharia first. He's America first.
He's America first, just like Nick Fuentes is America first.
Yeah, these guys are America first when it's convenient for them to dupe a bunch of morons. America first means I want to see my country act in its best interest and not in the interests of Israel. There's a guy who's literally just talking about eliminating Israel. Opposing genocide and not involving ourselves. Opposing genocide. You're talking about eliminating Israel. You're talking about eliminating an entire country. But I'm just opposing genocide and asking questions. Opposing genocide and not involving ourselves in foreign wars is not anti-American. It is basic morality. Staying out of other people's... You're calling... Wait a minute. You hear this, AP?
He's
think
literally
about
calling upon Muslims to unite and support Iran again.
a
in order
foreign
defeat-
government in a foreign war, and he's saying we should all be united with them. All Muslims should
in order
unite
to
with them.
eliminate Israel. That's what he's literally advocating for. And now suddenly he's completely twisting his own words.
I mean, guys, how can it not be
Liar.
obvious to everyone what a
Filthy
lying
liar.
scumbag we're talking about here?
Filthy
I believe in
disgusting.
America first, and I'm just against. I believe in America first, even though I can't stand America and I want to subjugate the place. I'm against genocide, even though I clearly want genocide against Jews in Israel. And I'm against involving ourselves in foreign wars, even though the clip is literally about me telling Sunnis to unite with Shias when it comes to foreign wars against Israel. Is not anti-American. It is and he calls this basic morality. So basic morality is not involving yourselves in foreign wars, and so he is immoral in this clip. And frankly, the values that the founding fathers clearly expressed and lived by. Yes, this has been your American history lesson from Sheikh Yasser Qadhi. Hey, Sheikh Yasser Qadhi, you should go on with the Hodge twins. You guys would be best buddies now. What was, and Candace, the Hodge twins, Sheikh Yasser Qadhi, Nick Fuentes, all you guys working together. What was referred to was the need to unite against any group committing mass murder and oppression. Any group, guys. Well, guess what? Would that be the United States since we're helping Israel? Everyone, I'm going to tell you something that Sheikh Yasser Qadhi knows, and I'm 100% positive he knows. And this is how I know that he's lying and being deceptive here. Is the United States the enemy here? Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. Why?
Yes.
Why? Okay, so we've been through this tons of times before. I'll give you the quick rundown. Surah 5, verse 33 of the Quran says that the penalty for making mischief, the vague crime of making mischief in a Muslim land, gives various penalties depending on the severity, death, dismemberment, crucifixion, or exile or imprisonment, depending on the translation you go with, but various penalties for the vague crime of making mischief in a Muslim land. The most severe form of mischief in a Muslim land would be taking over the Muslim land and imposing a foreign law or something like that in there. Okay. Not according to me, according to Islam and according to Sheikh Yasser Qadhi, is Israel doing that? Is Israel making mischief in a Muslim land? Yes. And they're making the severest form of mischief. So according to Sheikh Yasser Qadhi, they're on Muslim land. They control Muslim land, and they're killing people on Muslim land. So there are multiple forms of making mischief on a Muslim land. What does that mean? It means they're under a death sentence, right? So that's Israel. Here's the thing, though. From an Islamic perspective, is the United States of America making mischief in Muslim lands?
Yes.
Yes, we just bombed the crap out of a Muslim land, as we've done repeatedly in the past. And interestingly, we're helping Israel. We're helping Israel. Why is that relevant? Well, there's a principle in Islam. That if you aid someone else in what they're doing, you get an equal reward. And this is the same whether you're on the Muslim side or on the non-Muslim side. So Muhammad said that if a jihadi goes out to fight and you don't go out to fight, but you fund the jihadi so that he can go out and fight. In other words, you pay for his armor and you pay for his horse and you pay for his sword and so on. He goes out and fight. The person who funds the jihadi gets an equal reward. So he actually goes out and fights, but you just pay for him to go out and fight. This is why you have so many cases where people are arrested and sent to prison for aiding a foreign terrorist organization. Right? They didn't go out and terrorize anyone. They sent money. Why? You get the same reward. Why are you going to go out and fight when you could have a business and just fund the jihadi? Right? Got that so far? But here's the thing. So it's not just the person who goes out and makes the mischief who's under the death sentence. It's the person who funds him, who pays for him. So who's responsible for Israel? So even if the United States never directly made mischief, if the United States never bombed anyone, bombed any country, took out any foreign leader, anything like that. If the United States never did any of that, but they simply helped other nations, or they helped Israel do it, they would already have an equal reward to what Israel deserves, which is death, right? But in addition to that, okay, so the United States government, from an Islamic perspective, is the United States government making mischief in Muslim lands? Absolutely. You say, okay, well, that's just the government or that's just the soldiers. Wait a minute. The principle is, if you're the one who funds them, if you pay the bills for them to make mischief in Muslim lands, you get an equal reward. Who ultimately pays the bills for the United States government and for the United States military to make mischief in Muslim lands in various ways? Who ultimately pays for that? Answer: the American taxpayer. Everything I just said to you is directly from the Muslim sources. And it's interesting, if you look up in the various writings that Al-Qaeda put out in their justification for the 9/11 attacks and so on, how can you guys justify killing civilians? What did they say? The U.S. civilians are the taxpayers who fund the military who make mischief in our lands. That's exactly what they said. I told you that directly from the Muslim sources. Terrorists read the exact same thing and see it. It's indisputable. Does Yasser Qadi know this? Yes. Does he know that ordinary United States citizens are under a death sentence from Islam? Yes. Does he know that the United States is making mischief and therefore United States is a common enemy of Iran and Sunni Muslims? Absolutely. He doesn't want to get in trouble. So what's he say? Guys, I'm just America first. See me? I'm just America first. That's what I am. Yep. My blood is red, white, and blue because I'm Yasser Qadi. American Muslim. True, tried and true. Wow. Anyway, let's read this. What was referred to was the need to unite against any group committing mass murder and oppression, like jihadis for 14 centuries. The common enemy is any genocidal regime, which in this case is the current government of Israel. Instead of twisting words, maybe reflect on why calling out genocide bothers you more than genocide itself. Maybe we don't think it's genocide going after terrorists hiding behind
the only genocide
civilians.
that happened was October 7.
Yeah, that was an indiscriminate killing to wipe out a people group. Lastly, calls to report and deport me are not only laughable, they are absolutely unconstitutional. As someone born in Texas, I cherish the patriotic right to express my opinions and even disagree with the policies of our government, as I truly want this country to be a beacon of humanity and morality in the world. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America.
Now, first off, calls to deport him, considering that he's an American citizen, would indeed not make much sense. But calls to report him are in no way unconstitutional.
Did you call for him to be deported?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay.
I only said report him, and in fact I insist. And in fact, if you're watching this right now, I would suggest that you call your representatives, or you contact your representatives, text us, wherever it is, and actually report Yasser Qadi as an enemy, as somebody who aids the enemy in a war, as somebody who stands with the enemy, and so on. Because that you can report somebody. If we are at war, if we are fighting with a different country, and a citizen openly supports that country and also incites people to go and support that country, that's a crime.
Yeah, and at the very least, this guy's calling for eliminating Israel and uniting with Shias to support a foreign war on Israel, all in the midst of saying he's America first and against having anything to do with foreign wars. It's like hypocrisy, lies, deception, all of that. So yeah, AP is correct in this one. AP is correct, and Yasser Qadi is once again a lying, evil scumbag. How AP is not making a direct video response to that when he responded directly to you. How AP is not taking his original tweet, the video clip of Yasser Qadhi, and then Yasser Qadhi's response, and then showing how insanely idiotic it is and why he should be reported. How this is not being condensed into a nice little video. I do not know, ladies and gentlemen. I do not know.
You should make a video about that.
I'm thinking about it. Someone has to do it. All right, let's take some super chats. Matter of fact, let's watch that video clip once more now that we understand his clarification of what he's saying. Super chat, no comment from Eddie Issa, thank you. But let's go ahead and watch that clip one more time since it's only a few seconds long. But what did he say?
Wallahi, they are not the same. And I say this as somebody who strongly disagrees theologically and politically with the country of Iran. But still, on the one hand, you have Iman, even if it has mistakes. On the other, you have not just kufr, but blatant kufr. Not just average kufr, but the most deviant, arrogant type of kufr.
Big kufr, bigger than my Zabiba. Bigger than my Zabiba kufr.
That we have not seen.
Yeah, that's the other thing, Shakeout Scott. How are you going to talk to us with no Zabiba?
Where's the Zabiba, man?
This dude's got no Zabiba.
Freaking loser.
If I were to convert to Islam, I would have a Zabiba 2 days from now.
Yeah.
You've been a Muslim your entire life. You got no Zabiba at all. Little weak prayer. It's your weak Zabiba. No Zabiba having weak prayer. Liar.
For many millennia, this is pharaonic kufr on the one side. No matter whatever mistakes the other side is making, you cannot equate the two. And so, in this current conflict going on, I state unequivocally that yes, while I do not support Iran unconditionally, in this conflict, whatever grievances...
In this conflict, he supports Iran. You getting that? You shouldn't support someone in a foreign war. That's not America first. And I'm all about being America first, guys, when I'm talking to a bunch of like Hodge twins who are going to fall for that because they're morons. Let's see what
we have grievances. Let us agree to pause them for the time being. I'm not saying ignore. Once things settle down, once things are calm, once we have both eliminated the common enemy.
Once we have eliminated the common enemy. Then we bring up our differences. What song are you listening to, AP?
What?
We can hear your stupid song playing in the background. Is that your Zabiba song?
That's what I'm listening.
The Zabiba song, ladies and gentlemen, that's what AP listens to while we're having deep conversations about the destruction of Israel and the jihad against America. AP's rocking out to the Zabiba song.
The small Zabiba energy.
It is funny. Like every time we hear the word Zabiba now, we want to listen to a song. We're going to have that. You need to go ahead and release the song. But two, we all need to have that like ready to go. As soon as we hear anything about Zabiba, boom, the song kicks in. That should be in videos too. Let's see. Justin says, how likely do you think it is that Israeli intelligence has its finger on the pulse of Iranian civilians doing their own regime change? I mean, that's what people in Iran want, and I'm pretty sure Israel is aware of that and encouraging it and trying to figure out ways to help. Because everyone with a bit of common sense wants a regime change. The Hodge twins and Candace are against it.
The Hodge twins.
The Hodge. H-A-J-J. The life of Christ is so profound and sublime. The story of Jesus, in its beauty and profundity, does what Muslims say the Quran does, as far as beauty.
Absolutely. 100%. Exactly.
Xenomorph says, David, you missed the goat joke I made. Iran is the... What? The what goat? I know what those symbols, I know what that symbol normally represents. What are you talking about? But can you guys analyze the Screw Tape Letters by C.S. Lewis sometime? AP, when are you going to read the Screw Tape Letters, man?
I got it, but I just didn't read it.
Dude, it would take you like a day, and it's a fun read. It's a series of letters by a senior demon to a newer, lower level demon. It's good stuff. I haven't read it since I read that probably 2 or 3 months after I became a Christian. So I became a Christian in jail. Then I was taken to Southampton Reception and Classification Center. That's where they decide which prison to send you to long term. And while I was in Southampton Reception and Classification Center, I ran into Randy, the same guy I was in jail with. And as soon as I saw him, he handed me a book. It was the Screw Tape Letters. And I read it. And then I read it again. Good stuff. Good stuff. So yes, we should. We will analyze the Screw Tape Letters as soon as AP reads it. Let's see. It's even more beautiful as a good rabbi amid his crucifixion. He was still teaching by quoting Psalm 22, and the fear of the Lord means awe, not terror. Yeah, AP, learn what the fear of the Lord means, man. It's not just, I'm scared. Let's see. Also, Jesus saying, why have you forsaken me? Fulfilled Old Testament prophecy, Psalm 22:1. Yeah, guys, this back in the day, you would have said, everyone, turn in your Bibles to Psalm 22. You could refer to a psalm by quoting the first line of the psalm, and the Psalm 22. Psalm 22 is about someone, horrible things are happening, and yet he's ultimately vindicated by God. And so Jesus on the cross, everyone, you're obviously cursed by God, and then he quotes the beginning of the psalm. That's about him.
That's how Jews still do it. They refer to the Psalms by the first words or something.
Oh, yeah. Catherine Cavaney says, the common enemy, thinking, caring humans. I just thought you were just going to say thinking. The common enemy, thinking. But yeah, thinking, caring humans works as well, as far as being the common enemy of Iran and Yasser Qadi. The fear of ICE is the beginning of wisdom. Very rude. Let's see. Qadi forgot to log into his fake MAGA account. Yeah, Yasser, next time log into your fake MAGA account and be like, wow, this Sheikh Yasser Qadi guy's really America first, just like us MAGA guys. Let's support him against Israel. Isn't Texas coming out with a bill to ban any Sharia law in the future? Well, it's interesting because Sheikh Yasser Qadi was part of the Epic City project. And I have to say, they were working on the Epic City thing. For anyone who didn't see the show on this, that's the East Plano Islamic Center, which just happens to spell, epic, which is, I'll give that to them. That's kind of cool. So they decided to make an entire city based on Islam. You can't officially say we're having Sharia, but it's pretty clear they were going to have an entire town of Muslims centered around the Islamic Center and so on. They needed funding, so Yasser Qadi put it, and that's when everyone caught on. And then people started contacting government officials and so on. And the whole thing is in limbo now. It's not going to happen. And they couldn't figure out what they were doing. They had no idea how to actually make a city. And so it all fell apart. And so anyway, but yeah, that was Yasser Qadi. He's the one who brought that screeching to a halt. I don't know what they're going to do legal-wise, but would not surprise me if they did something like that in Texas. See, Michael in Christ says, Mr. Dawood, I know this is off topic, but wondering if you ever still struggle with insensitivity and numbness. Yes, I'm pretty insensitive. I came to Christ from a very psychopathic life, and when I gave my life to him, it seems I felt for the first time. That's interesting. Do you have any tips for staying sensitive? No, because I'm pretty insensitive. I do have some tips if you're on the psychopathic end of the spectrum. You have to replace normal reactions with, I don't want to say abnormal reactions, but basically you want replacements for them. I call them second order. So as an example, I've never felt guilt over anything I've done. I've done messed up stuff. I've never had a bad feeling. Keep in mind that I know I'm wrong. I know I've been horribly wrong, and I've abandoned and rejected and renounced and turned away from and repented of past behaviors and not done them. There's no feeling associated with it. There's no, I feel really bad for what I've done. I don't feel guilt. I don't feel remorse, anything like that. But I have a second order replacement version of it, which I can call guilt or remorse, even though it's not what normal people would mean by guilt or remorse. And so what I do is if there's a situation where I should be feeling guilt or remorse, where a normal person would be feeling guilt or remorse, namely after doing something bad, I don't feel like that, so I don't have the feeling. So what do I have? I have a replacement, which is, here's a situation where if I were not defective, if I were normal, if I were a normally functioning, properly functioning human being, I would feel bad about what I just did. I don't feel bad, which means I'm defective. I'm defective. I am a defective, messed up person. Guess what? It's a different kind of bad feeling. You're not feeling remorse there. But it feels bad in a certain way to understand that you're messed up and defective. And so you can replace it. You can replace things in that way. So if you're ever not feeling some way, if you're ever not sensitive in a way you should be aware of how you should be, and then recognize how you are defective and focus on that, and you'll have a replacement. You'll have a replacement that can function in a similar way. Now you know.
Now you know. And if you don't know, now you know.
On ISIS Qadi's comment, Islamists consider the U.S. and any Western country as the Sunday people. If the U.S. did not aid Israel, they'd still be a target. Yeah. The point is, we're under all kinds of death sentences. So one, they would hate us just for not being Muslims. That we would be targets for subjugation just for being non-Muslims. But in addition to that, we're the ones who are causing all sorts of mischief in Muslim lands. We're the ones who are supporting Israel. We're under all kinds of death sentences for them. So for Yasser Qadi to be like, hey, I'm all about America, man. Red, white, and true. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? You might as well have just written Takia across your forehead, genius. So, yeah, that's Sheikh Yasser Qadi. Lying scumbag. Yasser Qadi, if you'd like to join us and explain how you're not a lying scumbag, and we can go through and you can show us how you interpret that, open invitation, buddy. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? We know why you wouldn't, because you're a lying scumbag. And a coward. Bunch of total cowards.
You know what I would like to do, man?
What?
I would love it if Yasser Qadi was forced to be invited to like a session, like I don't know, like in Congress or something like that, and I was there to ask him questions that he has to answer. I would love to ask him some questions, man. I would love to ask him some questions about politics, about Islam, about his feelings about Islam and the West. I would just love to ask him some of those questions, man. Man, I would kill somebody for free for that.
Ezra Gregory says, wait, unless Yasser Qadi isn't paying taxes, would he also be under the death sentence since he also pays taxes to the government? I'm not sure how knowledgeable most Muslims aren't, like lots of Muslims aren't even aware of this stuff, right? Knowledgeable Muslims are, and they frequently come up with ways to not pay taxes to the government. They come up with ways to not have official taxable income and so on. I don't know what Yasser Qadi does. I don't know. In other words, I don't know if there's some view where they think it's an exception if you're forced to. Like, I'm not willingly supporting this, but I'm forced to. Or if he just works around it and he comes up with creative ways to avoid paying taxes to the U.S. government, as if he has an official income of zero and everything is paid through the mosque or something like that. I don't know. I'd be happy to ask him, though. Sheikh Yasser Qadi, why don't you join us live and explain how you reconcile this stuff? Time to call Eli Copter. The greatest Jew of our generation, Eli Copter.
Mr. Helicopter.
Wait a minute. To clarify, he said Surah 5:43 to 46 was Jesus making the command, not Momo. Well, no one thinks it's Momo. No one thinks it's Muhammad making the command. It's Allah making the command. So I pointed to Sahih Muslim, Ibn Kathir, and Ibn Abbas. He then proceeded to tell me I was cherry picking Sahih Muslim, Ibn Kathir, and Ibn Abbas. Yeah, at that point, I think you're dealing with someone who simply doesn't want to accept reality. But yeah, to be clear, this isn't let the people of the gospel judge by what Allah hath revealed therein. There's no way to interpret that as Jesus speaking in context. And that's actually a new one for me. I've never heard anyone say that. So sounds like you're dealing with someone who's just making things up as he goes along. I would suggest continuing the discussion and going to more and more passages. So go through all the passages in Surah 2, go through the passages in Surah 3, go through the passages in Surah 4, go through the passages in Surah 5, and point out how obvious it is that he's just, he's avoiding the obvious, because he is. We need that song, AP, and then a whole album. Yeah, AP already has enough for a whole album. He just hasn't released everything yet. Javed
The
Shah.
funny thing is that Javed Shah.
Who's
Indeed,
that?
Javed Shah. Javed Shah means long live the Shah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the funny thing is that I got so much into the whole music making thing that I started just making music for my own pleasure, making music for my about
For the love of music. He
about
did it for the
Christianity.
music, guys. That's how you know when someone's in it
Okay.
for the music and not just for a show. And
Now I have so many-
become some rich millionaire from his music. The person who just makes it for himself to listen to, that's the person who really just loves the music. Good.
Now I have so many songs, and some of them I really love listening to, and I actually do listen to them. But I'm not sure if anybody else wants to listen to them, so I'm just keeping them to myself. It's funny.
Yep. Javed Shah.
Javed Shah.
It is crazy that, I mean, you could see the collapse of the regime this week. Could be 6 months. Something's going to happen in our lifetime. That's awesome. Everything is better in Texas. Texas tequila. Everything is bigger in Texas. That AP, that's what you could include in your video. Say everything's bigger in Texas, including tequila. Texas tequila. Well played, Yasser Qadi. He is big Satan first. We all saw him say that. If he is, then number one is America first. Then no one is America first. Yeah. Let's see. Allah is the biggest kafir of all in the Quran, according to Yasser Qadi. He is indeed. Zabiba zip. Oh. This is a different one. My Zabiba. You know the song My Sharona, AP?
No.
Okay, you got to look up My Sharona. It does work perfectly with Zabiba. The song is My Sharona. But that would work with My Zabiba. So, David, you are fearfully and wonderfully made. So says the word of God. That is true. Not a big Muslim population in Tennessee, but there's a Muslim youth center in my small town now preparing anti-Dawa scripts just in case. That's good. That's good. If you want to do something really effective, make sure all the young Christians are well equipped with the Islamic dilemma for when they have discussions with young Muslims in the area. But yep, definitely want to be able to respond to the Dawa script. D. Wood, you are his workmanship created in Christ Jesus for good works, which God prepared beforehand, that you should walk in them. Ephesians 2:10. Oh, keep in mind, guys, I believe I was made for certain things, right? And that's why I tell people when people are like, hey, David, I had this mental problem, blah, blah, blah. The first thing I say is figure out if there's some way that gives you an advantage in certain situations, because maybe you're made for those situations. And so, just various ways that I'm screwed up. I was just born with some deranged urge to not be controlled by people who have no legitimate authority over me, which I apply to all people. Why should any of you be in control of me, and so on? That changed when it was God. Okay, God has legitimate authority over me. Therefore, I have to listen to God. But then this Islam thing comes along and, hey, we're obsessed with controlling you, David. So not just in the ideology, the people are obsessed with controlling. Oh, you can't say this about Muhammad. Really? I can't? No, you can't do this in the Quran. Really? I can't? We'll make you stop doing this. We'll go after people's wives. We'll do this. We'll put all these threats on you. And I just, I don't know. It's something that is normally a defect, which gets you sent to prison in the right circumstances is actually helpful. If you're going to constantly counteract the attempts of people to impose Sharia on you, that's good. That's a good reaction in that situation. You have no business imposing that nonsense on us. And so, anyway, that's how people should be reacting in that situation. But people, you know, with me, it's kind of like dialed up to an extreme. And so I like want to eat the Quran as soon as they're like trying to mess with me and so on. So anyway, yes, no, I believe, guys, even your problems, even the ways that you are defective, a defective human being, can be used by God for awesome things, awesome things. Let's see. You blokes make too many live streams. That's true. Already 4 bids behind on both your channels. Well, you got to, in this situation, you just got to pick whatever one is most based. Through the intercession of blessed Carlos Acutis, I'll catch up. What is this? You know what this is about, AP? Who's Carlos Acutis?
Is that a recent saint? I think there's a recent Catholic saint. I think that's him. He is like, yeah, that is him. Italian computer programmer who died in 2006 and was declared a saint by the Catholic Church.
You know what? I'm so familiar with the Wingalings and all their nerdy ideas and all their nerdy allegiances to Mike Winger and stuff. Like when I'm saying this, I automatically know what the Wingalings are thinking, what Mike Winger would think. So, through the intercession of blessed Carlo Acutis, what's a Wingaling or Mike Winger going to think? Acutis, that sounds like Locutus, which is Captain Picard's Borg name when he was assimilated by the Borg. Fortunately, he broke away from that. But the Borg still call him Locutus, right? That's what these nerds are thinking when they hear about this stuff. Anyway. AP and D1, thank you for your unapologetic authenticity. Also, AP, your music is good, man. No joke, guys. If AP, he's got all these songs. He wants to release them as videos. He's putting them on Spotify and so on. It's kind of a matter of time for you can just download the entire AP Apologetics and Theology and Polemics album. You got to come up with a dope name for your album. Maybe after your whatever your most popular song is. In other words, you can title an entire album My Zabiba, even though it's just like one song on there. What do you say?
The thing is, I also want to. I'm thinking maybe I should do 2 music projects. One would be just parody music, and the other would be kind of like faith music or something. I was thinking I should start also putting like Christian reggae songs out there. And the channel would be called Orthofarian or something like that,
That could be I don't know why you focus on reggae, maybe just like reggae or something like that, but you could have an entire album because you have lots of reggae songs. You could have an entire reggae album, but if you could call that Orthofarianism.
I just love it, man. I'm listening to Orthodox. I'm listening to Christian reggae music nowadays that I created myself. So it's kind of funny.
It's very based. Many Iranian Christians are escaping to Armenia. Please pray for them. Why would they be escaping?
Ain't no need to escape.
Is it like still just? Is it? In other words, is there something new, or is it like just because Iranian leaders crack down on Christians and so on and send them to prison? Is there something new, or is that just the same persecution? But it's also cool because Armenia sends out missionaries. It's like a base for missionaries who want to go and preach in Iran and so on. So it's actually cool. I want to take a trip there. And do some base stuff. Rock the Casbah was an anti-Islam song poking fun of how backward the culture was in the Middle East. Now the UK bends over backwards for them. Yeah. Rock the Casbah. Rock the Casbah by order of the Prophet. It's obvious Mike Winger lives rent-free in your head. No, it's just you have to know your enemy, and I know exactly how my enemy thinks. And in any situation, I can think of the Star Trek episode that he would think of in that situation. Donald
Okay,
Trump's
look at-
voice. What?
Look what my wife said
What?
in the chat.
What? Where?
She said, "We listened to AP's Christian reggae songs on the drive to church this morning."
That's funny.
We actually did.
Dude, I guarantee you, and I'm sure your kids are the exact same way, but I guarantee once that song goes around, you'll have kids in cars and stuff going, "Can we listen to the Zabiba song? And I'm telling you, I'm predicting it now. Again, there are going to be Muslims who are jamming out to that song. They're going to be
Sure.
jamming out to the song. It's going to get in their heads, and they're going to be going around. They're going to be heading to the mosque going, Zabiba, Zabiba. They're going to be bowing down and praying and be like, "Oh, I got to get a big Zabiba." Bang,
Did you just say they're going to
Bang,
be
bang.
heading to the church?
bang, bang. What?
Did you just say they're going to be heading to the church?
Mosque, man.
Just-
They're going to be heading to the mosque.
No, they're going to be heading to the mosque. You just said beheading.
They're going to be heading to the mosque, banging their heads. First, they're going to be bobbing their heads to the Zabiba song. Then, when they're praying, they're still going to be doing it because they're going to be trying to get a Zabiba. They're going to be, Zabiba, Zabiba, I got a big Zabiba, Zabiba. It's inevitable. It's inevitable. Donald Trump's voice. We're big kafirs, the biggest kafirs in the world, the best kafirs, the number one kafir of all time. There have never existed kafirs as big as us. ISIS Qadi said so. He's an honest man, so it must be true. That is all correct. That is all correct. Mother Hulda said, "Do you think the way your brain works was intentionally in God's creation of you, or that he is working some damage done into his plant?" Could be either one. Could be either one. So the question there is like, did God make me defective on purpose so that things would happen? Or is it like, this guy's defective, but I can use a mentally impaired guy for certain things where that can actually be helpful? Yep. Don't know. Let's see. Do you think your eternal body will have the same mind? What about other genetic birth issues? I have family members with severe CP and Down syndrome, so I've wrestled with this question. Yeah, I don't know. Like when I'm resurrected, will I just like start crying over stuff and then God wipes the tears away? I don't know. Like, in other words, am I always like this? Am I always messed up? Or, and then if like I'm fixed, am I still kind of like myself? I don't know. It's going to be weird, but I don't know. All right, everyone. We've gotten through everything. Anything else, AP? Were we supposed to be live with Inspiring Philosophy tomorrow? I seem to recall something about Monday.
Oh, I think so, yeah.
Inspiring Philosophy. Hang on, let me look. I think we might be live with Inspiring Philosophy tomorrow to talk about the Islamic dilemma. I think. I haven't heard from him in a while, but I recall that he sets things up like weeks ahead of time sometimes. Hang on. Okay, yeah. Sajid responded to my video on him. Can you be on the channel Monday and stream on it? AP said he can join us. Okay, yeah. We're supposed to be on with IP tomorrow. So everyone will be on with Inspiring, unless he's changed his plan, because that was
IP too.
yeah, that was a week ago he messaged us about that. But we're supposed to be on with Inspiring Philosophy tomorrow to go through Sajid's response to his video on the Islamic dilemma. Hey, do you know it's an awesome year for the Islamic dilemma, AP?
Uh-huh. It's awesome.
These
It's
are
amazing.
good times. These are good times. Hey, send him your song so we can play your song, man.
Oh, yeah, we should do that.
Yeah, you should. We're making it. That should be standard. Any live stream where you talk about the Islamic dilemma, you should at least listen to like at least part of AP's Islamic dilemma reggae song. It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
Oh, on Wednesday, my episode with Matt Fradd will be out on his channel, on Matt Fradd's channel.
The one that he recorded like 6 months ago.
Yeah, previously known as Pints with Aquinas. It will be out on Wednesday, so that's good. Looking forward to that. And I also just recorded something with Justin Brierley, but I think it will take a while for him to put that out.
Huh. So AP's got some cool stuff. I'm telling you, dude, if we come up with some regular videos, I'm just saying that because I was doing it. I got back to making regular videos. It's always travel that throws me off. Like I will be making videos like multiple times per week. And if I travel somewhere for a couple of days for a trip or a conference or something like that, I can't get back into the rhythm when I go back. I used to be able to adapt quickly, but I don't know if it's just being old or something else. But anyway, yeah, it's crazy. I have a ton of video topics that I have ready to go. It's just actually making them. Sketch Therapy says,
Sorry.
parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme in a bottle. If words could make wishes come true. A child that fears a father's hand will grow stronger and larger than that hand, but a child that fears disappointing a father's love will never grow defiant.
Powerful.
Did you know that's actually, let's see, a child that fears a father's hand will grow stronger and larger than that hand, but a child that fears disappointing a father's love will never grow defiant. You know, it's like been my main issue with parenting is I understand like genetically, like almost along the lines of like family curse, how insanely rebellious and self-destructive my entire family line is. We're just like we just like spend our entire lives coming up with various ways to destroy ourselves. Drugs, alcohol, prison, everyone. Like my main, like with my kids, my main thing has been like, it's okay, whatever happens, do not get on drugs. Don't do it. I've been warning them their entire lives about all their family members and every funeral we go to and everything else. Like, you getting the point now? Do not ever start. Do not ever start on this. Because I got like one uncle who smokes weed all day and stuff like that. I'm like, guys, you're not like him. Some people can do that. You guys, I'm telling you, by nature will want to do more and more and more and cross more and more lines until you're dead. That's what you will do. And so like their entire, because I'm not the warmest, cuddliest father in the world. In fact, I've recognized, like I would hug my kids when they're like toddlers and stuff. Like I don't like hug my older kids anymore or something like that. So I'm trying to figure out how to do that because at some point, it just stops. It's not intentional or something like that, but I just become like colder or something like that. But anyway, it's this weird situation where I'm like, okay, whatever else happens, it's almost like I don't care what they're doing if they're not going down a massively self-destructive path. It's like, that's what I have to block. Other stuff we can work on later, but it's just, once you see a family member get on drugs and it's like you're completely powerless. You can get them clean. You could grab them, take them, move them out of there and get them clean and stuff like that. And it's like, it's almost a matter of time. Fortunately, my brother John seems like he's good, but everyone else, it's like, you could get them totally clean and stuff. You can't keep them in your eyesight for the rest of your life. And the moment they're out of your eyesight and stuff, they go right back and shoot up with heroin or something like that. And then they OD and stuff. Anyway, so yeah, I've had this ongoing thing about my kids. What you're talking about right here, disappointing a father's love. Wouldn't describe it with me exactly like that, but it's cool because my kids do not have this. They don't seem like they have this compulsion to rebel against everyone that my family has had, and they don't have this being hell-bent on self-destruction and self-destructive behavior built into them. I kind of see it. I can see it in other ways, like it's always there, but somehow they have not turned out like that. They're basically, I'm hoping this is ended, but that's actually how I describe it. I like tell them, like, we have to be the generation that ends all of this so that future generations don't even recall this stuff. Anyway, hoping that works. Oh, we ended up getting more. I thought we were done. We ended up getting a couple more super chats. AP, there is a legit Christian reggae band called Christafari. Been around for like 30 years.
They're fake.
Yeah.
I am the first Christian reggae.
Have you ever heard of them?
No.
You should check them out. You might.
I'll
You could
check
do
it
some
out, yeah.
cover songs of them. I heard AP
Christ.
ask about Christian. I heard AP ask about Christian fear of God.
Yes.
From Eddie Isa, what's it say, AP?
I have no idea what this is.
Okay. AP, for Scarborough Fair on the tin whistle, you need to control pitch, vibrato, and be on key for when you change octave. Also, you need to trill.
I have never. This is. I just got myself this thing. And
He
I
had
wanted
this
to learn.
recorder for like 10 seconds, and you're already you're not doing it right, so you should be ashamed of yourself.
First off, this is not a recorder; it's a tin whistle.
Okay. I didn't see it, man. I wasn't looking.
I've never played something like this before, but now I'm trying it out, and it's kind of cool. Like, you know. No,
I don't think that's what he meant by trill.
yeah, it's difficult. I gotta figure it out, but it's very easy actually. But I just gotta learn.
Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme.
Something like that.
Wow, it was beautiful, man. Hey, although you put that together with your shofar skills, soon you'll be making your own albums with you on instrumental and singing. I love you too, D Wood and AP. Kai Bars Barbecue. And last up here, Dawood. I'm
Red
not
letter. This is not a recorder; it's a tin whistle. There's a difference.
Dawood says, I am not the cuddliest father in the world. His kids, if you only knew what he did to our teddy bears. I related fear of God to fear of disappointing a dad. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, yeah, that's good.
Hey, have you heard of the new tag, the new slogan, "Make Iran Great Again"? Everyone is posting about "Make Iran Great Again" now.
Yeah, MIGA. You got to
No,
say
it's Mig-
no. You
it's
got to
Mig-
say you have to say MIGA. You have to say it that way. You can't have all these white people going around saying MIGA.
It's literally MIGA.
You can't
It's
say
literally
MIGA.
MIGA. So people are now saying, "Hey, what's up, MIGA?" and all that. So it's becoming a movement, man. It's becoming a movement. Yeah, MIGA.
Look, we'll give Iranians a pass on this one. And I'm trying to think of which groups get a pass on this one. I'm deciding whether Turks get a pass to say that. White people, you can't do it. I said that to the old white people. Go, what? You can't tell me I'll say whatever I want.
You see?
Here you have, let's see, AP. Play Comfortably Numb solo on the tin whistle.
Right.
Yeah, there's two solos. There's two solos in Comfortably Numb. But yeah, either one of them. Either one of the solos. But I prefer the last one because it's the greatest it's the greatest guitar solo of all time. I can teach you AP. I know it all. Timothy Freeman says he can teach you the tin whistle. Now you know.
Teach me.
All right.
Teach me.
All right, guys. Well, if all else works out, AP's got cool stuff coming out this week. Got interviews and such. I'll be cranking out some videos. I'm going to force myself to because tons of topics. And looks like we'll be on Inspiring Philosophy's channel tomorrow to go through some stuff, to go through the Islamic dilemma, our favorite stuff. And unless something weird happens, I will get one of these videos done and have it out in the morning. All right.
In the morning.
All right, everyone. Catch you all tomorrow on Inspiring Philosophy.
Catch y'all.
Be sure. What is this? I can't believe you'd say the soft, I like that. What? Do you know what this means? I can't believe you'd say the soft, I like that.
Nope.
We don't know what that means, but we're out of time, ladies and gentlemen. Everyone, pay attention to what's going on in the church. because a lot of people are declaring open war on the church.
And they shall fail.
Learn the Islamic dilemma. Learn it well. Catch you all next time.